Hello world! So today we're gonna do a tour of Africa in London. So why? Well, I don't know if you remember, but in my first video I told you that I'd be speaking about web design and graphic design. And I've got to work on a website which is African related, and the only inspiration I've got so far is obviously having a brief and a conversation with the person I must do the website for, and the single photo for colors and inspiration. So I thought, yeah, after doing all these experiments on YouTube, but maybe I could start showing you what I'm really doing in my pretty much everyday life. So this new project is just perfect to show you how I go and find out inspiration for web design work. Web design can be quite boring. Everybody thinks about code and boring stuff, SEO, scary. But some part of it are very interesting, and I love the research part of it. So I bring you with me. Let's go travel. So I find myself in Brixton right now, and I'm gonna focus on design really. So it's gonna be a lot of fabrics. For me, I really need the colors and the shapes and the design in general. So blue and yellow are really the colors I should be looking for this particular subject, but I'm gonna look at everything, design in fabrics and design into objects, and yeah, that's about it really. Was really nice. I didn't want it to be filmed, but we had a nice chat. Well, that was a nice place to look at, but I needed authorization to start filming, so I think it becomes a bit too complicated and will take too much time before I get an answer so I can actually create the video. So now we're gonna go to Camden Town. Might be a bit more touristy, but let's go and find out what we can see. Camden Town. Well, the shop I was looking for is closed, so I'm gonna browse a bit. London town, and Rachel is wonderful. Thank you, Rachel. Well, I'm taking a little break, having a bit of lunch, and at the same time take this opportunity to talk about my experience so far. When you search online, there's plenty of African shop, but once you get there, they're not necessarily African, and actually the only African shop I found was not online. So I'm a bit disappointed. I really wanted to show you the exotic side of London, and London is really is exotic. I mean, it's the best melting pot you can find in the world, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I'm gonna have this lunch, and hopefully I'll find another shop, and I think having 3 places to show you altogether will complete on research, physical research. Then I will do more research online, but that I won't bother showing you. Yeah, that's it. So there we go. Yeah, I'm being useless here now. Okay, I'm gonna have lunch. Right, lunch was nice. Lunch was nice, and I think I found a place. So now we're gonna go to Mayfair to an African art gallery. It's a bit more contemporary. Hopefully I'll be able to film a few things and get some nice inspiration from there. But I wanted to open a bracket related to web design. When people are looking for a website, their first question is, how much do you cost? And I always tell them I don't think that's the right question to ask. People say, yeah, I just need a few pages. That's fine, a few pages, but if a page can last for 20 scrolls, and the page can be just the size of the screen. So it does not necessarily work this way. I think if you need a website, you need to understand what you need before you go and see anybody to create your website. Obviously the person who you're gonna see should bring you some ideas and some suggestions and tell you, yes, that is good and that is wrong, and that will be better if it was done this way. It shouldn't be in your head, it shouldn't be like how much it's gonna cost. It's really what do I really need to do with this website? What do I really need to get from it? Quite often people will ask for a price, and then they get a price, an early price or general price, and they get scared, and then they either don't do anything or they try to build one by themselves. When people try to build by themselves, they usually go for the cheap option, which will be a WordPress. And then once they start digging into the WordPress, they start realizing the complication there is behind all of it, and they lose patience, and then they ask somebody to take care of it. Usually this person who's gonna take care of it, well, if you're lucky, you may get somebody who's really good at WordPress, but most of the time you will get somebody who does not do WordPress, because as web developers, we develop websites. We don't work on platforms which are already half made. We've learned how to code with the native languages of the internet. WordPress is made out of native languages, but does not work in a native way for programmers, for developers. So then we need to learn how the platform is working, it makes the whole thing far more complicated and ultimately far more expensive, because far more time needs to be spent on it. I'm gonna close this bracket, but don't just ask for a price. First realize what you really need. So then you're gonna have to spend money, and if you try to be cheap, well, you're gonna be having troubles. I mean, you're gonna get what you pay for. you don't have to be expensive, but you can be reasonable. Reasonable can be finding a reasonable web designer that understands the situation and can help you produce something that will really fit your needs. Or then, if you really want to do it yourself, whatever happens, you're gonna have to pay. Even if you get a WordPress, eventually you're gonna have to pay for something. Will it be a plugin? Will it be, most probably thousands of plugins. And then you'll pay in time, because a WordPress you'll have to update constantly, the plugins and the WordPress platform itself. If you try to be adventurous and do something a bit special on it, when you do the updates, you're not even guaranteed these things are going to work later on. So if you don't pay in money, you're gonna pay in time, you're gonna pay in frustrations. So yes, get a reasonable web designer that will do the job for you, or otherwise get something like a Squarespace. As a web designer, sorry, I don't want to go on the street. As a web designer, it's a company I would have liked to work for, because the code is clean behind it and they take care of all the things that you don't want to know when you create a website. So you're free to do the things that are important for you, taking care of your business, rather than trying to tackle the nagging aspects of a free platform, which yes, lets you update your content, text and images, but on the long run is frustration. I'm gonna close this bracket and let's go to Mayfair and find more inspiration for the African website. Alright, see you in a minute. I couldn't film inside. They let me do a few shots, so that's all I've got, and that's not really what I was looking for. So I think I'm gonna keep doing the research online, and I think also sometimes the original informations are usually the best. So I don't know if this research was for nothing. It was very inspiring. I met some nice people. But if I show you this picture now, that's a photo I took at a client's place. I think it's the best inspiration so far. I'm gonna look more onto this aspect online. And I don't know, maybe I'll bring you along the journey to see how the website gets on. If you like this video, remember to press like, please subscribe and press the bell button next to the subscribe button. And that's it, so see you next week and have a good weekend.